I want to welcome everyone. If you're just tuning in, happy Saturday. Let me check something here. Welcome. Hope you guys are all having an amazing Saturday. I wanted to start by just saying, if you have been following me for a while and you have been on No Guts, No Story, you know that every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., I am always here, ready to inspire you, make you feel better, raise your vibration, encourage you. And today I'm going to start what's going to be like a brand new series. You're going to love this. So it's my birthday month. And whenever it's my birthday month, we celebrate all month long. So I thought it's only fitting. We should probably start a new chapter together. And I was thinking about it and I was talking to Dave. You know, it's funny. I wrote a book back in 2007, 2008. And the book actually ends on a stage in 2001. So I want you guys to think back over my last 25 years and imagine that the story that I've been telling ends in 2001. Now, how many chapters have happened since 2001? Like, oh my gosh, the book is a dinosaur, right? So I challenged myself this week. I'm turning 54. And I challenged myself to go back and reread the book that I wrote that ended in 2001. Now, how many of you could go back and look at your 25 years ago version of yourself and say, wow, if I knew then what I know now? How many of you guys would be like so much wiser, so much stronger, so much further along, so much mentally aware? It's a mental strength that you get as you get older. And I will tell you guys, at 54, I have never felt better. I have never been stronger. I have never been more focused. I have never been more enlightened. Like, I've never been more in alignment with who I am, who I want to work with, where I want to be, where I want to go. And nothing can phase you once you've been through so much. And so in a event that we held, a launch event that we held on Valentine's Day, I was reflecting on my message. And I've been thinking a lot about, and you know, my publisher has said for years, you need a new book. You need a new book. And I was like, what would that message be? Now, drop in the comments, how many of you have read the book that I wrote, No Guts, No Story? If you already have the book, drop in the comments that you read the book. I don't know how long ago it was when you read the book because I really don't promote the book that much, but I am doing a buy one, get one free all month on the book. And the book is going to be out of print. So we have several cases in stock, but we are going to be working on a brand new book. And I will tell you why. Everything I did to build my business in this book was 25 years ago, how we built the business. Now, I will tell you guys something. Systems change, technology changes, things change, but people, the reason we do the things we do, they don't change. So although the book talks about listening to audio cassettes, driving to do pop-up parties, renting hotel rooms, using a slide projector. Oh my goodness, I'm a classic, right? I am an antique. As I was reading the book, I was like, you know, there's so much golden nuggets in that book, but the next book has a totally different message. And I wanted to start that today with all of you, just a kickoff to my new year of another trip around the globe. And I really want to dive in with you guys, because if I could start a brand new chapter and I could start it with you, and we could co-create the best years of our life, what would we start with? So let's say everybody grab your coffee, everybody grab your water. Maybe you got your minerals. I'm going to put my minerals in because I don't drink my water without my minerals in it. And let's talk for just a minute about what we would do if we were sitting down together to write a brand new chapter, to write a brand new book, to develop a brand new game plan of your life, your best year ever. And that's what I'm getting ready to start, is my best year ever. Now, how many of you all would agree there are a lot of uncontrollables in your life that tend to have an effect on your energy, the things you do, your stop programs. You decide you're going to do something, you start, you stop, you start, you stop, you start, you stop. You set a goal. You say, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. Then your goal gets hijacked because somebody else's agenda is more important than you putting yourself and your own goals first. I'm guilty of that. Always taking care of everyone else. Drop in the comments and tell me, if you were to be completely honest right now, me and you are sitting down, you know exactly what you want. Would you be able to say on a scale of 1 to 10 that you know what you want? Because you guys, the thing that I find, most people don't even know what they want. They're just a drifter. They're like a ship without a rudder. The tide comes in and the tide goes out. And the morning comes and then it's nighttime. And the weeks come and then the weeks run into months. And then we're 90 days into the new year. And everything you said you were going to do in January, you're getting ready to get ready, to get ready, to get ready. And it's just so frustrating. What it does, it creates resentment. It creates stop programs. It creates limiting beliefs. And what happens is you hate to get your hopes up because every time you do, things don't quite pan out for you. And so thank you for being honest. Thank you, Viola, for jumping in there and saying, yes, I'm a drifter. I want to help all of you guys adjust your sail in the direction of the wind that is going to take you to exactly where you want to be. Now, I'm guilty of this, so I don't want you to think that I'm any different than any of you. I wrote down a little quote this week. I thought it was really, really good. Fear of rejection and fear of failure are two of the biggest reasons people hold back from taking a chance. They will stay stuck, never share their ideas, never talk themselves out of a wrong decision. Instead, they will talk themselves out of pursuing their dreams and never even revealing how they truly feel or who they truly are. Okay, I'm going to repeat this one more time. Fear of rejection and the fear of failure are the two biggest mistakes that hold people back from taking a chance. They stay stuck. They never share their ideas. They never do what they want, pursuing their dreams, never revealing how they truly feel or who they truly are. So I picked up my book last night and I started reading. And I want to tell you guys something that's so crazy. I was a 21-year-old girl. In 1993, I was, gosh, how old was I in 1993? 22, 23 years old, right? And I was pregnant with a little girl that wasn't planned. You see, if we really believe that our steps are already directed, and if we truly believe every hair in our head was counted, and before we were born, God knew, He created us, He knew what our life would be, why do we get so uptight about our failures, our mistakes? Why do we get so worried about approval of everyone else or being rejected? Why do we worry so much about what everyone else is doing, comparing ourselves to them, when that's their journey and you're on yours? And you were created for greatness. God had definiteness of purpose when He created you. He doesn't make junk. He made you exactly how you are for a reason, so that you could live out your purpose-driven life, not someone else's, yours. So things happen. I'm a young girl. I'm newly married. I have 2 babies. I have another baby on the way. I think I know what I want, right? So we all think it's about our plan, but really it's about God's plan. Because when you try to control something that's an uncontrollable, when you try to change something that you just can't change, there's your business, there's not your business, and then there's God's business. And right now, the entire world is trying to change something that's God's business. We are all so perplexed about what everyone else is doing and how wrong they are and how stupid they are and how dumb they are and how bad they're hurting everyone and how if it would have been this way, we want to blame, we want to shame, we want to put all the responsibility on everyone else. And I want to tell you guys something. The day I took personal inventory, the day I took personal responsibility for myself was the day that changed my life. See, it was our little girl's birthday, and Chance was a newborn. She was turning 2. And we were in the backyard of our little house. It was a big house, actually, on 7th Street. It was an old rest home that we had remodeled, big 2-story colonial rest home. Everyone was always like, do you know how many people died in that house? But I loved this house. It was 100 years old. I never thought about it being a rest home. It had so much history. It had the old radiators. It had big columns out front. When I pulled up to it, it felt like the governor's mansion, and I was renting it. Dave and I were too broke to buy a house. We were renting on contract. Later, we bought it. But I remember we were in the backyard, and we were sitting there cutting a birthday cake. It was a Barney cake. And we were singing happy birthday. And we heard this at the gate. And I remember Dave looked over at the gate and there was a sheriff. And he said, Dave, you're going to have to come with me. There's a check that you wrote and it didn't clear the bank. And there's actually a warrant for your arrest. And I remember Dave saying, can you wait until after the birthday party? And he was like, nah, we can't wait till after the birthday party. And Dave had to leave Brooklyn's birthday party to go get a mugshot, get booked, $7.09 for Pro Sobe baby at Bogart's grocery store. And you guys, we all have those days where we're like, that's the day. And, you got to ask yourself, when was the day that you hit rock bottom? Like, when was the day that you were like, enough is enough. I'm going to change the narrative of this story. And I think for Dave Pitcock, it was that day. Dave was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And he made a decision. I got to do something to provide for my family. Every man wants to be able to provide for their family, pay the bills, maybe take them on vacation, maybe not have his wife have to buy all the clothes at a garage sale for the newborn baby, right? Maybe we buy a new stroller instead of a hand-me-down. It was little things, guys. Like, I wanted a new shower curtain that didn't have black spots on it from the water, right? I wanted to fix my screen door so it wasn't blowing in the Kansas wind. I wanted a little nicer fence so we could keep our St. Bernard from getting out every week. I couldn't even pay to get him out of the dog pound. And when I think back on that, it reminds me of the girl that I was when I wrote this book, of a story that was my childhood up until 2001. Now, the way the book ends, you would think I was on top of the world, but that was actually one of the hardest years of my life. And I just never continued the book. So when I look at the timeline of where I came from, where I'm at today, and where I want to be, it's really no different of a formula than the formula that I used in the book to go from being a bankrupt beautician, married to a bull rider, bouncing checks for baby formula, to becoming a multi-million-dollar earner in a company. And I have to tell you guys, the event that I went to that really changed my life, Les Brown was on a stage. Les Brown. I mean, he gets $40,000, $50,000 to speak for 45 minutes. The company invested in a speaker that said some words to me that literally changed my life forever. And what he said is, it's not over until I win. It's not over until you win. So today, I just want to take a couple of minutes to really set this up with you, because I'm going to do this new book in a series where every Saturday morning we co-create the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter and the next chapter. And I want all of you to be a part of this journey on my birthday month, my birthday year. Like, let's co-create the next 12 months of our lives together to where we know this is the best year that you and I have ever shared together. So in the book, What I didn't know is that that mentor that stood on that stage would later be the one to write the foreword to my book. I want you to imagine that I was in a bankruptcy when I went to that first event. I shouldn't have even been at that first event. And to think that the keynote speaker on the stage wrote the foreword to the book. How many of you know who Les Brown is? Anybody know Les Brown? Les Brown is one of the most incredible speakers you will ever hear, ever. Like, he is the authority, one of the top 5 speakers in the world when it comes to personal development. Now, at that event, I was a young girl sitting up in the nosebleed section. You know, Dave had just bounced a check. His name was in the paper. It was humiliating. We live in a town of, in the book, it says there's 5 stoplights and 2,500 people. Now there's like 3 stoplights and 1,700 people. But if you know, you know, right? I live in a town where oil was the main boom here, oil and farming. And so having our name in the paper in a town where we grew up, knowing that everyone knew that we were a financial failure, it was very humbling. And I will tell you guys something. You have to humble yourself or God will do it for you. Ego edges God out. And when you think you have arrived, you are definitely on the way down. You have to stay humble. Always stay humble. Always be serving others and thinking about them. It's not about you. It hasn't been about you since the day you were born. We are on this planet to serve other people and witness. And at the end of this life, the only thing that we are going to be scored on is how much we served other people and witnessed. Everything else is going to be gone. It's just gone, right? You may leave your library, your journals. You may leave some pictures that you took, some memories. But at the end of the day, nobody really cares about a car. Nobody really cares about a piece of furniture. Nobody really cares about a property, because the real value that you add to someone's life is the memories that you make and the way that you make them feel. And I will tell you, Les Brown brought so much value to my life that day. I was sitting up in the nosebleed section, clear at the top. I had on a rotten sundress. It had some little beads on it. Back when sundresses used to have little fringe with like little beads. Think of like the friendship pins that people used to make. My dress had like some beads like that on it. It was pretty rotten. And then I brought one little black dress that I could wear on formal night. I didn't really want to go to the event, didn't have the money, didn't have the time, didn't really want to leave my babies, leave them with both of our moms. Our car had been repossessed, so we borrowed my mom's Lincoln to drive to Chicago. Everyone else got on an airplane. We didn't have a credit card, so we stayed in a room with another couple. The guy had been my sponsor in a previous company called Amway, and he was one of those guys that had a lot of experience in network marketing. I mean, I was a 23-year-old girl, but I had enrolled them. He was my previous sponsor, and his wife was pretty negative. It wasn't the most fun trip. She wasn't really believing in what we were doing, and we were the only 4 people there. It was us and a couple that was kind of negative, and we had to sleep in their room. Not the best conditions, not the best environment for me, and I was missing my babies. But that day, I sat up there with my arms crossed, didn't really want to be in direct sales, and I listened to Les Brown, and he talked about his mom and dad not being his mom and dad. He was adopted. He was abandoned on a warehouse floor, him and his brother. A lady took him in. She raised him. She worked her fingers to the bone. He grew up very poor, and he had a dream to buy a home for his mom. He had the fastest canceled talk show ever. He was kicked out of his office. He was down on his luck. He was canceled because he was positive. And I was listening to his story. And I will tell you guys, what I really related to was not that Les Brown made $40,000 to speak for 45 minutes. What I could relate to is that Les Brown was broken. Les Brown was an underdog. He didn't play the victim card. He didn't say, they fired me, it's their fault, I lost everything. He didn't say, my show was canceled, it's not fair, it's because they're a political party or it's the news or whatever. No, he just took personal responsibility. He said, if it is to be, it's up to me. If I can look up, I can get up. It's not over until I win. And I remember sitting there crying, thinking, it's not over. It's not over. It's not over until I win. I bought the audio cassette. I listened to it every single day. It became my mantra. It's not over until I win. And I had no idea. If I had known then the adversity that I would have over the next 25 years, I probably would have quit before I even started. But I had to look at the timeline of where I came from and where I wanted to go and where I was at right now. And I want you guys to think, what has brought you to where you are today? And I want you to be grateful for that. When I look at my timeline and I read the first chapter of this book, I say, who was that girl? Who was that girl? I underlined a page today and I told Dave, just read that. I underlined page 5. It said, I was lost. As I sat there, I looked in the mirror. I hated myself. I hated my freckles that got darker in the skin. In the sun. I hated my skin that was so fair. I hated my hair that was a cross between orange auburn and sun-bleached red. Although I could make everyone else happy and make them look pretty all day in the salon, I was miserable when I looked at myself. How could I keep putting on this show? I wished I could be tan like the other girls when I went to the lake. I wished I was blonde, or better yet, a brunette with that dark skin that would match my dark eyes. All of my other siblings were blonde. They were beautiful. I had always felt like the ugly duckling at the beach. My self-esteem was as low as a girl's could get. Who was that girl? What changed? How many of you compare yourself to everyone else at the beach? How many of you compare yourself to everyone else in the office? How many of you compare yourself to everyone else in your company? How many of you compare yourself to everyone else in the neighborhood? This imposter syndrome that I used to have is because I didn't know my own worth. No one had ever said to me, you can be and do and have everything you dream of the minute that you believe that you can. And you are worthy of that. And somehow Les Brown just stirred me up. Like he just stirred me up. And what happened was I made a change at that event. I literally made a change at that event. I had the most amazing husband who loved me and believed in me. And he took a risk when I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe anything could work. I wanted to be stuck. I wanted to blame our dumb, stupid town. I wanted to blame that they're all small-minded. I wanted to blame that they all talk bad about me. I wanted to blame the economy. I wanted to blame that Bob Dole didn't get president and he was born here in Russell, Kansas. I wanted to blame the rich people that had all the oil because, you know, when you're poor, you like to hate on the rich people. You don't want to be happy for their success. I wanted to blame the fact that my dad left my mom and I couldn't go to college. And all of my friends were in sororities and they were cheerleaders and dancers. And I was working 2 jobs, not 1, 2 jobs, and trying to drive my tired butt to beauty school. I could be resentful looking around at everyone else and what they had. But do you know what? God had a plan for me that was so much bigger than anyone else I was comparing myself to. And he would take me and all of those setbacks and create a comeback that would be 10 times bigger than what anyone else was doing that I was comparing myself to if I could just believe in myself. And I think for a lot of you, you have to do this. What are these conversations that you're having in your mind every single day about yourself? What do you say about yourself? What do you think about yourself? Who are you comparing yourself to? Who do you blame your current situation on? Because I want to tell you guys something. When you're my age and you're 54 and you're looking back on that 23-year-old mentality, you have to say, what has changed? Like, what if I still had that same mentality I had when I was 23? It's everyone else's fault. It's not my fault. It's not fair. I'm broke. I couldn't pay my bills. I couldn't cover the checks. I couldn't work enough hours. I didn't have enough help. I didn't have a dad. I had all the reasons in the world to blame everyone else, but I took personal inventory and I drew a line in the sand and I said, enough is enough. Today is the day. I'm going to change the rest of my life. And I'm going to challenge you guys because I see a lot of 40-year-olds. I see a lot of 50-year-olds. I see a lot of 60-year-olds still stirring up hate and blame and resentment. And it's everyone else's fault except for theirs. And until you take personal responsibility, your life will not change. So I talked about this little black box in an airplane when it goes down when I was on stage a couple of weeks ago, and I was thinking about that story because it's a story that I can really relate to. When a plane goes down, they don't go look for all the passengers that were on the plane. They look for the little black box because that little black box tells them what happened, when it happened, why it happened, where it came from, where it was headed, and exactly what happened at that point. And for some of you, we need to look back at why are you having these dominating thoughts that you have in your subconscious mind every single day? Where did they come from? How did they get in your head? You need to raise the rent, kick them out. Eviction notice happening today. And when you change your thoughts, you'll change your entire life. But we have to take responsibility for what's happening because if nothing changes, nothing ever changes. So one day a doctor said to me, as I was walking in front of him in Chicago, Illinois, in front of that Rosemont Theater where that event was with Les Brown, I was drinking a Diet Coke. And he said, "Why are you drinking a Diet Coke?" And I said, "Because I just had a baby and I'm fat." And he goes, "No matter how much Diet Coke you drink, as long as you say, 'I just had a baby and I'm fat,' if you starve yourself, you will be fat because a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, and nothing will change your reality until you change your thought." And I was like, okay, well, according to the scale, and when I look in the mirror, I am definitely overweight. And he said, "I want you to do something. I want you to start saying every day, 'I am the ideal weight. I am skinny. I am beautiful. I am fit. I am healthy.'" And I changed my phone screensaver to say, "I am skinny." And during that time, I know you're all going to think this is woo-woo. I didn't change my eating. I didn't change my exercise. I didn't change anything. But I dropped about 20 pounds faster than I had ever dropped 20 pounds in my life. And it was because of the way that I saw myself. I put pictures up of what I wanted to look like, not what I actually looked like. I began with the end in mind. And it was like osmosis. It just happened. I took personal responsibility for the power of the tongue. And I got fit. The dominating thoughts that we have, write this down, probably one of the most important phrases I've ever been taught in my life. Every thought is a prayer, and every prayer is answered. Thoughts are things, and the power of the tongue and the power of the mind is the strongest weapon anyone has. When you believe it and you speak it and you think it, even if you don't speak it, it happens exactly like you think it. Even the things you don't want to happen, you get because you thought them into existence. But we get and we become what we think about every single day, not what we want, because what we want wants us. That's the laws of the universe. What you want wants you, and you can have it, and it will come to you. Every prayer you have with faith and action, God will answer those prayers. But you have to change how you feel in order to change your life. And some people want to change their life, but they don't know how to change how they feel. So I'm going to give you a couple of exercises that have really helped me to be able to co-create the life of my dreams. And even in hard times, which I even have right now, so many things happening in my family, I am able to navigate. I am able to attract. I am able to bring about what I think about because my focus is so strong on the actual goal, on beginning with the end in mind, that it comes to me because I believe it is going to happen. And that is through prayer. Now, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I don't care what your beliefs are. I'm not going to push my beliefs on you, but I will tell you, I've tried it without him and I've tried it with him. And it's just a lot easier for me when I put God first in my life. That is just me. Now, I own a company where there is every religion There is every nationality. There is every sex and race and language and color and thought process and belief in the world. And do you know what? I am a very inclusive person. I do not care what you believe. I believe what I believe because I have evidence, stacked beliefs in my personal life that it is to be true. And you believe what you believe because you have stacked evidence that you believe what you believe because it is stacked evidence to be true. Now, we all also have limiting beliefs. So, how did I get my beliefs? I had a grandmother that took me to a Baptist church 3 nights a week. It was law. We went on Wednesday night. We went on Sunday night. We went to missionary night on Tuesday night. We had Good News Club after school when we walked to a lady's house where we all met in the basement. It was ingrained in me. And so my faith grew stronger based on those beliefs that someone planted in me from a little girl on. Without those beliefs, I don't believe I would be here today. At the age of 16, I didn't want to live anymore. At the age of 23, I wanted to give up on everything. I always had to go back to what was my rock. And if you don't have faith, I don't know how you do it. I honestly don't know how anyone survives in this world without faith. But we also have limiting beliefs. We have limiting beliefs. And a limiting belief is a thought that you believe to be true or a state of mind that limits you in some way. A limiting belief is a thought that you believe to be true or a state of mind that limits you in some way. And limiting beliefs can be taught to us or they can be learned over time. And sometimes we're not even aware of them. You know, growing up, tough love is how I was raised. My mom and dad were rarely at home, and I felt like I was the mom of, there was 5 of us. I was home alone most of the time after age 12 when my grandmother passed away. And I just learned a lot of responsibility at a very young age. Now, when you're a 12-year-old and you're the built-in babysitter, you tend to hate your mom and dad. And I was a very hateful young girl. I was very resentful. I looked at what everyone else had and I always wished that I had that, but I didn't, right? And so I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I felt like I was raised on the wrong side of the tracks. I felt like I didn't have a supportive mom and dad. Everyone else had sports and their parents would be there in the bleachers. And I would be walking with my double stroller to go watch the ball game, babysitting all of my siblings, taking them all to the swimming pool, running the lemonade stand with all of them. Like we were different. We were different. I didn't grow up like all of my other friends grew up. But I want to ask you guys a question. Do you think God had a plan for me, molding me with that upbringing to give me the beliefs, the strength, the conditioning that I needed to be the person that I am today? And what you have to think to yourself is, how come things happen to you? What is the good in the things that happen to you? Because none of it makes you a victim. It's setting you up to be the victor. Yes, Kayla, 100%. That was me. I was 12 years old when my grandmother passed away, and my life changed forever because she was my rock. She picked me up for Sunday school. She came to my band concert. She took me to baton twirling lessons. She wanted me to be in the Girl Scout club. She was the rock. But I have to look back on that and think to myself, those roots, it starts at the root. Those roots were planted, and the deeper the root, the stronger the tree. And the roots that you grew up with, good or bad, they could be really deep roots or they could be limiting beliefs. We have to get to the root of why you feel the way that you feel and why you do the things that you do. And the reality is, most of us do not feel worthy of the success that we deserve. Most of us do not feel worthy. We do not feel like we are the girl that deserves to have, that deserves to get, that deserves to be loved, that is enough. We don't look in the mirror, girls or guys, and say, I am enough. I bring so much to the table. I'm a great asset to this company. I'm a provider to this family. I'm the best mom. I'm the best dad. I'm the best grandma. I'm the most amazing sibling. I'm an incredible daughter or son. We don't usually say those things. We find all the reasons why we're not enough. And one of the phrases that really set me free, especially raising adult children and all of the adversity that we have had in the last 25 years, all of the blessings that have come from that adversity, I might add. I wouldn't be the owner of the company that I am today. I wouldn't be writing the book that I'm writing today. I wouldn't be leading the people I'm leading today had there not been so much pain and so much suffering. And I want you guys to embrace that. And I want you to write down this quote, and I want you to read it every single day. True forgiveness is believing that the past could not have been any different than it is. True forgiveness is you believing that the past could not have turned out any differently than it did. And everything that happened to you happened for you so that you could be at this very point in your life, so that you could draw a line in the sand and say, I am conditioned for this. I am enough. I am worthy. I am going to draw a line in the sand today, and I'm going to co-create the most amazing years of my life. Because of God before me, who dare be against me, right? And if he truly knew every hair in your head and he directed your steps to this point, every time something happens that's adversity or that you look at as a bad thing, just like me having a check bounce at my daughter's birthday, it set us up to change our financial situation and to teach people financial freedom for the next 30 years. I mean, our lives changed that day because it was the rock bottom that said, if you can look up, you can get up. We need to make a change. Now, Les Brown wrote the foreword to my book, and I want to read you guys what he said. And I want you to know the next few weeks of No Guts, No Story is going to be titled, You Were Built Not to Break. And that is going to be the title of my next book. Les Brown, the great speaker, says, when I first read the title, No Guts, No Story, I thought it was a typo from the infamous quote from my friend Dexter Yeager, No Guts, No Glory. But after reading this manuscript, it's very clear why Barb wrote this unique title, because this book will impact the lives of its readers. I believe that stories and great storytellers can change your life. We've learned some of life's most valuable lessons from childhood fables, from friends, from family, and now for me, this inspire message from No Guts, No Story. Can you guys just imagine this? I'm the broke beautician in the nosebleed section, and the keynote speaker later writes the foreword to my book. I want you all to get out a journal, and I want you to start today, because my book was a combination of my journals from the day that I was sitting in my car saying, I hate my freckles, I hate my hair, I hate the way I feel, to the day that I stood on stage with thousands of people, 6,000 people listening to my story, buying the book. You have a book within you. Wouldn't it be nice if our lives read like a fairy tale book? How enjoyable would our lives be if we had little to no havoc, few disappointments, few defeats, and only happy times to forever remember? What if our only problem was trying to find contentment and live happily ever after? Well, as strange as it might seem, I believe we all lead fairy tale lives. They are full of adventure. They are otherwise disguised as challenges, but it's adventure. We're here for the experience. That's why we're on this planet. These stories are also packed with villains, also known as your naysayers, and happiness, which is sweeter after reflecting about our personal victories. Imagine if you died today, only to realize you never really lived or anyway scraped the surface of your true potential. That would be devastating. But I found that it's reality for most people because they're afraid to do as Mother Teresa said, to be a pencil in the hands of God. Most people don't want to shake up their lives to pursue something different and go against status quo. That's why we believe the graveyard is the richest place. It's the richest place in the world because so many shy away from their true potential in writing a new chapter in their life. Some people don't want no guts or a story. The title is so significant because it took guts for me to believe, this is Les Brown talking, it took guts for me to believe that I could change people's lives and make millions of dollars being the top 5 speaker in the world. It takes guts to believe that you can cure an illness. I have a neighbor lady who got a diagnosis yesterday. Terrible diagnosis at the lake. But I know that she's going to beat it. It takes guts. It takes guts that you can believe that you can make money. Les Brown says, it took guts for Barb's husband, Dave, to spend $1,000 of money on a credit card to start a new business when the only friends they had were the creditors that called their phones, because so often they called. But he did. He took $1,000 and a leap of faith and wrote many new chapters in their lives that touched and inspired millions of people. No Guts, No Story is laugh out loud funny. Barb is honest and transparent. The writing is bold. It is vivid. Not a bunch of self-help fluff, but many real stories with lessons to apply in many of your lives today. And here is my challenge to all of you. I want you to get a journal. I want us to journal out over the next 12 months, every day, the good, the bad, the ugly. And at the end of each day, I want you to write the lesson that you learned, the strength that you gained, the conditioning that you got, the thought that you had, the idea that came to you, the new person that you met, maybe someone that you recruited to your company, maybe a customer, maybe you had a breakthrough at work, maybe you went on a date, maybe you hit a milestone in your health. But I want you to document it, because if you can document it, I can help you write your story. I can help you publish that book. I can help you to do and to be and to have anything that you dream of. But you've got to take responsibility. What are your dominating thoughts every single day? You become what you think about most of the time. What is your environment like? Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? Are you willing to take a risk? Like, I could help you start a business today, and I could teach you to do exactly what I have done. But here is the biggest problem. Most people won't, because the fear of rejection and the fear of failure are the 2 biggest mistakes people make, the reasons they are held back from ever taking a chance. Do you know right now, we have a company that is dominating in this industry. We have a product line that is literally changing people's lives. We have scientific studies that are repairing DNA and reversing people's age in before and after pictures. And the product has only been out for 2.5 weeks. But here's the thing that people will say. It's too much. It's too far. It's too scary. It's too risky. That's for those other people. That's not for me. Satan is a liar. Satan is a liar. And you know what? Every day, God wakes up and says, I want to bless your life. I want to bring you to opportunity. I want to help you find the right people. I want you to move into your dream home, be able to start your nonprofit, give money to church, impact your neighbors, leave a legacy for your grandkids. And do you know what the enemy says? Stop her, create doubt, give adversity, give her pressure, give her pain, make her feel inferior, tell her that she's not good enough. You guys, you've got to think, who are you listening to? What are they doing to you? Is that okay? I'm telling you, eviction notice, raise the rent, kick him out. We got to get some new jelly in your donut. And I want to help you over the next 12 months of my life to co-create a life of your dreams. Not just No Guts, No Story, not just the book from 20 years ago. I am doing buy one, get one free all month as a birthday special. You can just go to pitcockmarketing.com. If you buy one, you get one in the box free. So you can read it and you can give it to someone else. It's literally just my story, helping someone overcome breast cancer. Not just once, but we did it 3 times. Helping someone survive the loss of a loved one and suicide, which is debilitating shame and guilt and fear and just the horrible low vibrational emotions that happen when you go through that. When you think about someone that feels abandonment, someone that feels resentment, someone that feels like they don't have unconditional love, someone with a very low self-esteem, that was me. And I want to teach you how I found a way to look in the mirror, believe in myself, and say, I can do this. And I want to whisper to you and tell you, you can do this. You can do, you can be, you can have anything you dream of if you will. So take massive and immediate action. Let's do this together. I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you to get a journal that you can write in every single day from now until the end of the year. I want you to read the book, and I want you to take these lessons and I want you to apply them to your life, starting with this. What I asked you at the beginning of this call. What is it that you really, really want? And the reason most of you don't have it, you are that drifter. You're like a ship without a rudder. You have no idea what you want. You have no idea how you're going to get there. You have no idea how you got to where you're at right now. You're just frustrated. How many of you are frustrated? Drop in the comments, frustrated. Because if you're frustrated and you get angry enough, angry is better than apathy. Apathy is the lowest vibration on the entire scale. Apathy is, I just don't give a shit, I give up, right? Anger is like, I'm at least mad, I'm going to do something about it. But when you decide that you're going to take massive and immediate action and you draw that line in the sand, I'm telling you, good things are going to happen for you. I want you to say that with me. Good things are happening for me. Good things are happening for me. This is my year. I'm going to co-create the life of my dreams. And although you are all commenting that you are frustrated, I want you to say this as we end this Zoom. Up until today, I have been incredibly frustrated with my life. But as of today, good things are happening for me. Good things are happening for me. I am enough. I can do, I can be, I can have every single thing I dream of. And I'm going to be here to coach you every single step of the way. So my name is Barb Pitcock. No Guts, No Story. If you would do me a favor, if you're watching live, you see a red button up at the top. I want you to comment live. If you come back here and you watch the replay, I want you to do #replay. And if you would do me a favor right now, this is the biggest gift that you can give me. Please share this video and tag a friend that you think could get some great value out of it. And lastly, drop in the comments if you had to tell me one nugget that you took away from today. What is the one statement that I told you today that really helped you to make a decision that today's the day that you're going to begin to turn your life around? You guys have an amazing day. I look forward to seeing you next Saturday on No Guts, No Story. You can go grab the book at pitcockmarketing.com. And the birthday special is if you buy one, you get one free. Have a good day, everyone.